Hello and welcome to the Analystix Debt Margin Calculator tutorial. In this tutorial, I will show you how to use the debt margin calculator, which is part of the cost of capital calculator Excel add-in. You will learn how to calculate the debt margin of the company using two methods. To open the debt margin calculator, click on the Debt Margin Calculator button in the Cost of Capital window. You can see that the Debt Margin Calculator window is divided into two sections: Calculate debt margin using company debt data and using company credit ratings. Let's start with the first method, using the characteristics of a bond of the company and risk-free rate to calculate the long-term debt margin of the company. First, input the duration and current yield of a bond of the company in the appropriate fields. Next, enter the duration and yields of two risk-free bonds, one with a duration below the bond of the company and one with a duration above it. The calculator will use those risk-free bonds to calculate the yield curve and determine the risk-free yield for the duration of the company bond. Those inputs are enough to calculate the debt margin of a company, but you might also like to perform an adjustment for a long duration. The duration of the cost of capital is long-term, and since corporate yield margins are higher in the long term, an adjustment might be required. For the long duration adjustment, you will need to input average risk-free rate margins for 4 different durations here. To learn how to determine those margins, view the written tutorial on the Analystix website. There is a link in the description down below. Once you've entered this data, you can save it so you won't need to calculate it again. Now you need to set the duration you want to adjust to. The default is 20. Next, click on the Calculate Long Duration Premium button. To complete the calculation, click on the Calculate Debt Margin button and you will see the margin for the duration of the bond you entered, the long-term adjustment, and the long-term debt margin of the company. You can export the debt margin back to the cost of capital calculator by clicking on the Export to Cost of Capital Calc button. The second method to calculate the debt margin is to use the credit ratings of the company, or to find the appropriate credit rating by using financial ratios. For this, you will need to populate the two tables at the bottom of the window. You can use the Links to Data button to find those inputs. Once you've populated the tables, click on Save Data. The data will be available for the next time you use the debt margin calculator. All that's left to do is choose the credit rating which corresponds to the EBITDA to interest rate and debt to EBITDA ratios of the company, and then find the average debt premium for companies with the same credit rating. This has been the Debt Margin Calculator tutorial. Thank you for watching. For more information, visit the Analystix website.